What's up, everyone? Champions back again for another UFC predictions video. This time for Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. We will be there for that one. I'm very excited. I'm doing this one early because I'm not going to be able to have my setup with this microphone that I have right now. So I'm just going to do this early. I'm just going to be forewarning. There's specific fights on this card that I'm just not going to have like detailed analysis on and like good opinions of because I just haven't had time to tape it, look into like some of them going in. But there's specific fights on this card that like I'm blocked in. I already know what I'm thinking going into them, and that's kind of why I'm willing to make this video now. In the comment section, if I make any changes or anything like that, I have additional like feedback or not feedback, excuse me, additional thoughts that I come by with the matchups or make a change of the pick, I'm gonna write them down in the comments so you know exactly like what I'm doing with that. So like for example, Smotherman versus City, I don't know what I'm thinking about that fight personally. Like that's an example. Don't go crazy about that one. It's for like this breakdown, but I'll be looking more into it going into next week. But yeah, like I said, I have specific fights I really want to talk about here, and I'm very excited to talk about. And I want to do it here while I'm still in the setup. I think UFC 315, I'm going to have to force to change the setup, sadly, but that's okay. No big deal. But since Gary Protest has not happened yet, very excited for that card still. I don't even need to go through what happened last week or whatever. What I mean, this was Volkanovski. This is my Volkanovski bet. I made money off that. Or if you looked at the other one, I made money on that. So and that was the only bet I had last week. So let's just get into it. Why wait any further? Gaston Bolanos versus Quang Lee. This is one of those where I've just not looked into it. Gaston looked pretty good against Romeus, even though it was like a pretty close fight. And Romeus' all-time fight IQ errors, oh my god, is a struggle with that guy. He's in Quang Lee, came in on short notice, did all right against Gutierrez, but not enough. And then Long Zhao beat him up bad. But I'll tell you what. I mean, I've not looked into this one that much, so I'm not like ultra like, oh yeah, I know this is where I'm standing. I'll go Quang Lee though. I think he can have wrestling success here. Like, I don't think that's like inconceivable. I think Long Zhao is like low key kind of good, to be honest with you. I actually like that guy a good amount, so I'm not gonna hold out against Quang Lee like that much. It's like, okay, that guy's to me is pretty damn good. I don't think Bolaños is as good. I did Mini Topuria bantamweight Bolaños, who looks sort of like Topuria, but I'm not really that crazy about Bolaños' game, to be honest though, and I just think Lee will be able to get takedowns and be able to work with that and pressure. But again, I've not looked into that one. This is just off the top of my head. One I have looked into: Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrovic. Forewarned, this is the fight I wanted to talk about the most in this video. I'm a women's MMA Andy. I love this stuff. Low level women's MMA. Give it to me. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I love. Yeah, we're gonna get into this one because I like a certain girl in this fight. I like me some Juliana Miller. And you know what? I'm going to go... Did I go decision? No, I'll go sub. I'll go sub for the culture. Just for fun. But I'll tell you what, though. I really like Miller here. I think she's going to do what she wants. I mean, okay. I shouldn't... what am I saying? Let me formulate my thoughts better. There are several reasons why I like Juliana Miller here. Let me pull up her Instagram as well. Not Juliana Miller, so I can't spell. But I like the time off Juliana Miller's had. I like the time off. 1 year, 7 months. She is super green, Juliana Miller. She is super green. You're going to see the record 3-3. Oh, man, this girl's bad. I get it. She's looked awful in the UFC. She's genuinely looked god awful. On the Ultimate Fighter, she looked all right, but those girls aren't that great, to be honest with you. They really aren't. She's learning on the job. Um, Ivana Petrovic, on the other hand, I don't think she's looked any sort of good in any of these fights either. Like I think Petrovic is bad. It's not good. It's not good. But if Jamie Lynn Horth she has an armbar on you and holds it for like almost 2.5 minutes, if I remember correctly. It's something around that length. Juliana Miller is a jiu-jitsu ace. There's one thing. That's one thing you cannot take away from Juliana Miller. The one part of her game she at least has is the jiu-jitsu. And something you can't ignore with Ivana Petrovic. I was listening to a Juliana Miller interview with what's his name? Crazy Kev. I'm not crazy about the guy, but was interested in getting more information on Juliana Miller. And she mentioned this interesting point that Ivana Petrovic, it's like in all her fights, at some point they go on the ground. So I mean, I don't trust Ivana Petrovic on the ground, honestly. Maybe she can hold top time position, but I don't really know. I know she's like a big girl and all, but man, I've been so underwhelmed with Petrovic. I know she has apparently accolades in like kickboxing or something like that. Off the top of my head, it's something of that sort. She's not good on the feet. She's not good on the feet. I know Juliana Miller looked awful on the feet against Luana Santos, especially because she gassed herself out. Dumb. That was awful. And she talked about that. She's like, I gotta use my brain a little more. In that interview I was talking about, it's worth watching. And I really liked what I heard in that interview because she's a student of the game, which I mean, it was very interesting having her to like talk about like Dominic Cruz randomly, and it's like, yeah, Dominic Cruz Marab would be such a great fight. It's like, okay, I don't know why you're talking about this, but she's into like tape studying and stuff like that, which I like. I like the move at camp out of that gym she had in, I think it was San Diego or somewhere in that vicinity in California. Now she's at that gym with Michael Chiesa, Brady Highstand, everything where Juliana Pena used to train. Maybe that's why she linked up, because she was on Team Pena on The Ultimate Fighter. I don't know. But she mentioned things like this is the first time she's ever had like personal with strength and conditioning and things tailored to Juliana Miller, which I think is good for her. It's only going to be good for her. Again, she's green, but because she's green, chances to get better. She's young. She's still young, like 20, 28, like it says on Tapology, almost 29. But young in the game, especially to mention. Petrovic is just, I know she's training with Shevchenko. I know she's training with Jocelyn Edwards. I don't think training with Jocelyn Edwards is anything crazy. Personally, I'm a Jocelyn Edwards denier, I guess you could say. I love Shevchenko though. That's a great move. But like, Petrovic is like moved around gyms from what I can tell. I saw her training with my girl Josephine Knutson. I was like, I'm not so happy about this. My girl Josephine Knutson going into that Pierre Rodriguez fight. And what happened? I'm not even doing that. Like that's I'm just doing that for the funnies. But she's been moving gyms and stuff like that. Like, I guess it's good to get new looks. Miller just moved to this newer gym, was established, has people in the UFC doing good. Brady Highstand we've seen make great improvements, and I think that's very possible for Juliana Miller here. Again, super green. And she mentioned in her Instagram, I can actually pull it up right now, her Instagram, in her fight with, yeah, right here. In her fight with Luana Santos, how her like shoulder is like messed up or something like that. It's something like that. Like rock back against the wall, blah 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 blah. Feel free to zoom in on the left shoulder if you want to see a severe dislocation. I'm not gonna zoom in on that, but there was like a dislocation going into the fight. Maybe that explains why she took the approach she did and just like went like, oh, I'm Killer Miller. I'm Killer Miller. I'm gonna go for the kill. Not good, not smart, obviously, but I think still at the end of the day, I think that tells you this girl's a dog. She's going to go in and die for your money at the very, very least. Do I get that vibe from Petrovic? I don't. I seriously don't. She went to life and death with Na Liang. Is I know Na Liang can be like a little bit of a monster early on in fights, but still, there should be levels above. And if you're at UFC level, like honestly, at this point, I will say something else to mention. Seeing about Juliana Miller, look who she's training with. Misha Tate. It's just, I mean, weird. That was weird, but Misha Tate, cool. I'm not crazy about that though, but still good experience to training with people at the UFC PI. Tatiana Suarez, love to see that. We love to see that. So she's training with like real girls now. You know what I mean? Like that's the main takeaway that I'm like taking away from this. And it's like it's better than nothing. And the reason why I'm harping up so much on this is because like the odds are to me are kind of crazy. They're crazy. Ivana Petrovic should not be like minus, what's the odds? Like minus 200 against anyone. She's not that good. I think there's going to be improvements in Juliana Miller. She knows her back is against the wall here. Maybe Petrovic does too. Like, her back should be against the wall as well. She's not been performing well. I mean, you could argue she won her last fight against Horth, who I don't think is that good at all. And if you're in the positions on the ground with Horth, like that armbar, what's that going to happen? What's going to happen when you're in those positions with Juliana Miller? In my eyes. She's not going to cover that line plus minus 200 at the very minimum. I stand on that. I feel like there's more points I'm forgetting. Because I really want to get into this. Like I said, you're not gonna like what you see doing tape study on Juliana Miller. You're not gonna like it, but. Like you have to consider like improvements going into like fights, especially after a long period. She has mentioned having a injury history, Juliana Miller. I have to mention that she is better now, especially since moving to Washington. I believe she mentioned, and like the new strength and conditioning, UFC PI, and I like her dedication to the game. I will also say that because. Listen to that interview, like I said, I think it's a good interview to listen to get into her mindset. She's a little bit of a yapper, but it's okay. Her whole life revolves around mixed martial arts. It does, and I like that going in. I like that going into this fight. This is do or die. This fight for her, and I think she's going to be do or die. This is a must win. She's a former tough girl. It's hard to win tough to begin with and go through that. I think she's going to have success. I have belief in Juliana Miller. Call me crazy. I have a 2-unit bet on her. I'm willing to ride with that ship. I have belief in that. Plus, it's women's MMA. Crazy things happen anyways, so you can't fault me that much for that, this pick. But, yeah, I like Juliana Miller a good amount here, and this is probably going to be my... It's going to be my biggest bet on the card. It's going to be, like, top 2, probably. I like Juliana Miller here. I think she's going to win. And, yeah, Ivana Petrovic, I'm so low on her. I don't think she's good. I don't think she's good at all. So, yeah. Dontel Mays versus Thomas Peterson. I think this is a pretty easy fight for Thomas Peterson if he fights smart, which, I mean, that's a little scary to ask for, but... If he wrestles, it's Thomas Peterson all day. I don't really have much more to break down. Base doesn't have the takedown defense necessary to win against Thomas Peterson who has good wrestling. This feels like a layup in my eyes. Thomas Peterson win. Next. Asman Bikoa versus Ryan Loder. I haven't looked into this one that much, to be honest. But I think Ryan Loder is like low-key live to win this. I think it can have similar success like Budka did. I know Bikoev beat like Reese pretty quickly, but I don't think Reese is like that great, to be honest with you. But I think Ryan Loder pushing wrestling pace and going to war with Azamat and the wrestling, which is going to be competitive. Like, I get why Bakov's a favorite, but I think Loader has a chance to be able to out wrestle the guy. I'm not confident in it. I'm not really looking to bet it, but I mean, the odds are at least nice. But as of now, not looking too much into it. I really haven't. Just off the top of my head, I think Loader's live. So yeah, but I'm not. This is not opinion. I'm dying on no hill. I'm dying on my Juliana Miller opinion. I'm not dying on this one. Yana Santos versus Miesha Tate. I know I talked about Miesha Tate. It's like, oh, this is a good thing for Juliana Miller. But the fact of the matter is she's old. And, like, yeah, she can give good lessons, but I just think she's kind of done. Although I get it. Like, maybe Miesha Tate can do something similar to Holly Holm where, like, hold Santos against the fence or whatever. But, yeah, no, I think just too much of a factor at this point. I think Santos should be able to. I mean, this is crazy to me. Like, I don't understand this at all. And if you look at the odds, I bet you Yana Santos, small underdog. That's kind of surprising to me. But I mean, it makes more sense to be more even at the very least than this one-sided. This is crazy. I just think the youth advantage is going to be a little too much. I know I'm the guy who mentions age doesn't matter nearly as much in women's MMA, which is true. That is absolutely true. But I mean, she's not been looking good against, like, pretty alright competition. I don't rate some of these girls that highly, at least. Raquel, okay. I mean, that's 8 years ago. Why am I even mentioning that? Marion Renault. What are we doing here? Like, who cares? Vieira, I mean, Ketlin is so much better than how she fights. She's the most. I'm not sure if there's any UFC fighter that makes me more mad than Ketlin Vieira, because she could be so good, but she isn't. But I mean, no shame in losing to Ketlin. I get it. Lauren Murphy, that was her going down the flyweight, if I remember correctly, but not great. Julia Avila, that's right after having a baby. Avila looks so bad in that fight. I don't put too much on that. I think Yana is probably going to win a decision. But again, I'm not, like, super confident because, yeah, maybe the Holly Holm fight happens where she just gets held against the fence and you're screaming at your screen. It's like, no, Yana, no. I'm not crazy about this, but if I had to pick a side, Yana. Cameron Smotherman versus Serie City. Man. What are the odds on this, actually? I'm out of curiosity. So I did see a good amount of people on betting me that tips going with City, and I can understand it. Is there no odd? Yep, -1. Oh, -163. He's the favorite. I mean, I'm kind of leaning City too, but again, I mentioned this at the beginning. This is like one fight. I have literally no idea. I need to look into this one a lot more. I just think City would be able to keep it on the feet and just outstrike Smotherman. But I'm not like ultra confident. I'm not done the tape to really, like, assert that, like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen. I don't know. I'll go with City as of now. Maybe I'll, like, make some change thoughts and I'll mention in the comments or whatever. But yeah, I guess I like City, but I'm not confident at all. Marina Rodriguez versus Jillian Robertson. This hurts me. I love these two to death. I don't want to pick one of these two to lose or win. I love Jillian Robertson. I love Marina Rodriguez. I won't lie, though. Jillian Robertson, it feels like a setup fight for her. I will say. I will explain why I go decision. I will explain. But I will say this. I've bet a lot of money on Jillian Robertson in the past. This isn't the fight to do it. I'm not interested here. I have this, like, weird feeling that, like, something could happen. Something could happen. Marina Rodriguez scares me to bet against. I get it, though. Like, I think Jillian Robertson be able to find a way to get it to the ground. Marina's a big girl herself, to be fair. She's pretty big. On the feet, it's a big difference. It's, like, even more so than Jillian's past fights against Watterson or Pinheiro. Even Pollyanna. Like, this is a big difference on the feet. Marina Rodriguez is nasty on the feet. And if we go over these losses, Lucindo split. I thought she won that fight. Andrade split. I thought she won that fight. Well, yeah, I mean, whatever. What are we doing here? She didn't win this fight. And Lemos, arguably bad stop, but it was not going her way. But I think you can argue she's on a 3-fight win streak. Marina Rodriguez, back against the wall. I do think Jillian Robertson ultimately gets takedowns. I will say I know Jillian Robertson is known as a finisher, but I know Marina Rodriguez also prides herself on not getting submitted. That's her. I remember just looking at her social media or something like that, and like some fan is like, "Why can't you just get up or whatever?" Or like, and then she mentioned something like, "Oh, but like, look at me, I've never been submitted," or something like that. Or no, someone said like, "Work on your jiu-jitsu," or something like that. It's like, I've never been submitted or something like that. And to be fair, she hasn't been submitted by like Verna Janjidoba. Like, I mean, that's impressive. That's pretty impressive, to be honest with you. I mean, if Robertson's gonna get a finish, I think it's gonna be like from TKO ground and pound. But I think Rodriguez is good at surviving. She's just really good at that. So yeah, I like decision. I think that's gonna be how the fight goes. I probably want to maybe look at that line, the over of some kind, and I'm curious like how that line's gonna look. But like I said, I would not be shocked if Jillian Robertson loses this fight. Don't be following people and be like, oh yeah, Jillian Robertson, lock of the week. No. I think I like Jillian Robertson's upside in this division, but this fight scares me for her. I won't lie, this fight scares me for her. Jeremy Stephens versus Mason Jones. I feel like Mason Jones should be able to win this fight. I'm going decision. I feel like it's going to be a 3-round war. It's going to be fun fight of the night type of fight. Mason Jones has improved a lot, and like I like the improvements we've seen of him on the regional scene. Jeremy Stephens, older. I know he got wins in BKFC against good competition. But it's the UFC. Mason Jones is a young killer. I think that's kind of tells the whole story. Mason Jones has a chin on him. I think he's going to be able to put it on Jeremy Stephens. Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. This might be the spot. I need to tape it. I do need to tape it. But I've been a Daniel Marcos #1 hater for so long. I think there's a chance, man. Montel Jackson, baby. I love me some Montel Jackson. He is so good. This dude is probably like the biggest kept secret at not 115. Oh my god, 135. No one talks about this guy, but he's that good. He's got that wrestling background. I think he's the one with Ngannou sized hands. Is him or Trevin Jones? And I can't believe I'm forgetting this. Let me look this up just to make sure, because I hope I really be sad if I mix that up with Trevin Jones. Who has Ngannou sized hands at 135 in the UFC? I think it's Montel, though. Come on, Google. I'm using Perplexity. My goat. Okay, this is being dumb. It's one of the two, and I think it's Montel off top of my head. But even if it's not, Montel hits like a truck. He does hit like a truck. He's nice with the hands. Maybe Marcos is better with the hands, but the wrestling, I think the wrestling is going to be such a big difference. And since Montel does have some hands, he can mix in the wrestling with the hands. He's got power too. Power for days. He's a massive 135er. I think that's going to be a big factor in this fight. And I think Montel Jackson's going to be able to put it on Daniel Marcos and have a wrestling clinic on him. I like me some Montel Jackson. I think he's a moderate size favorite. Yeah. I like Montel Jackson. I don't know. I have to think about it. I need to tape him more. To be honest, I haven't taped it, but I'm a Montel Jackson truther, and I really don't think it's gonna change. I know these guys pretty well. I think Montel Jackson should be able to get a win here and move up on the rankings. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. D-Rod, I think D-Rod wins. This feels like goes to decision, and I just think Ponzi's washed. He's washed, man. The Carlson Harris fight was such a bad look. I know he finished him, but like, man, getting dropped by him, like it was such a bad look. The Muslim Salikov fight, he looked so bad. I thought Kevin Holland, I mean, like, no shame to be fair. Morono losing the whole fight on a short notice from Morono, then finds a late finish. Cool, you find a late finish. Not good. Michel Pereira, and that was a good scrap to be fair, but I just think he's done. I know D-Rod's not no spring chicken himself. He's not the same guy he was, but I've seen more from him as of late, in my opinion. I think I've seen more of him like be himself as towards a Ponzi, who I just think is not the same guy anymore. Just straight up. Yeah, I like D-Rod. I think he's gonna be able to outwork Ponzinibbio on the feet and win. Reiner de Ridder versus Bo Nickel. So this is the thing where I was talking about Juliana Miller maybe not being my biggest bet of the card. Yeah, I think Bo Nickel wins. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like Reiner to win. I'll go decision. Should I go decision? I know Bo Nickel can finish, but I'll go decision. I think it can be like that. There's a lot of weird scenarios that this fight plays out that like I don't know how either is going to approach it. I don't know if Bo Nickel is going to wrestle. I don't know if Reiner de Ridder is going to wrestle. I don't know who's going to be on top. I don't know who's going to be on bottom. I don't know if they're going to keep it a stand-up fight. Bo Nickel stand-up straight up looked bad against Paul Craig. Not like Reiner de Ridder's stand-up is anything special to begin with, though. It really isn't. And like, oh my god, Bo Nickel striking was literally just spamming overhands. It felt like it's terrible. No kicks. No, I mean, I think maybe like the occasional leg kick off the top of my head. I haven't exactly tape studied the Paul Craig fight in particular, which I will need to do. I haven't placed a bet on Bo Nickel as of yet, but probably will soon because I think this spot stands out to me. But I think in most of those scenarios where I mentioned, where it's like it could be a whole bunch of different scenarios of how this fight plays out, I think Bo Nickel comes out on top on most of them. Just being honest, I know this is kind of a step up. I mean, is it? I mean, okay, Paul Craig, I just don't rate that highly at all. Brundage, no, yeah, this is a step up. I would say, I would say so. But I do think Bo Nickel can be able to ride like half guard and win the fight like that. I think he can have some success on the feet and maybe open up takedowns and be safe on the ground. Maybe he's gonna make improvements in the striking. There better be, because it can't be much lower than what he showed against Paul Craig. I know he won all 3 rounds like that, but Paul Craig's not no great striker. That body kick was money for Paul Craig. I'm not sure if Reiner really has that in his arsenal so much. Very awkward striker. Not so great at takedowns, stuff like that. I think you have to favor Bo Nickel here. I think he's gonna be able to do his thing and work it out. So yeah, I like Bo Nickel, and plus we're getting somewhat reasonable odds on Bo Nickel for the first time in his entire career. So I'll take Bo Nickel. I'm gonna look into it more, but I'm like pretty damn sure I like Bo Nickel to win this fight. Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. I like Sandhagen here. A good decision. I think Figueiredo can tough it out, but I don't really know where Figueiredo can give Sandhagen much problems, unless Sandhagen maybe has like a diminished chin at this point, or maybe his jiu-jitsu is like I'm like not thinking his jiu-jitsu is like as good or something like that. I know he's improved a lot since the the Aljamain Sterling fight, even the Dillashaw fight where he's like taken down a few times. I think the movement's just going to be too much for Figueiredo, to be honest with you. I think just Cory Sandhagen's length is just going to be too much. I don't really see where Figueiredo will be able to implement his game on Sandhagen. I think he's a rightful big favorite. Am I looking to bet him? Not really. Maybe parlay. I haven't looked too much into this one, though. I won't lie, but I mean, just off looking at it, like thinking off their fights, how they looked. I mean, he had a good showing against Umar, even though he lost most of the rounds. I thought I was still impressed by like the work he was able to do against Umar. I don't think Figueiredo is really gonna have anything for him. I think he's kind of finish or bust. And maybe Sandhagen can finish him. I don't know. I think Sandhagen's gonna be able to use his range, his distance, and be able to outstrike Figueiredo. So yeah, that's my picks. Let's go over the more takedowns and more 6 strike bets that I would like. I'm not sure what those odds are going to be at all, but let's get with it. Bolanos, Quang Lee, more takedowns, Quang Lee. I don't think Bolanos going to be going for any. Or 6 strikes. I think it can maybe go either way, but probably Bolanos, just a better striker in general. But I'm not confident about 6 strikes. I don't want that. Juliana Miller, Ivana Petrovic, more takedowns. It's interesting because Ivana Petrovic might be the one willing to take the fight to the ground, and like Miller's like, oh yeah, jiu-jitsu world, let's go, and then get like a sweep or something like that. So honestly, I'm not crazy about anything. Maybe like 6 strikes, I put a little bit on Miller, but I'm not crazy about like either of those. But I would lean Miller to be at least the significant strikes because I think she's gonna be the one dulling damage and maybe getting positions to do damage on top at points of the fight. Even if she gets taken down, I think she can reverse position, get on top, and do work. Dontel Mays, Thomas Peterson. Yeah, more takedowns, Peterson. That's obvious. But more 6 strikes, it can go either way, but probably Peterson. I think he can do some good work on top and get significant strikes. Loder Bakov, I don't even know. I mean, I think more takedowns, Loder is not a bad look because that's his path to victory to begin with. So that's maybe the way I would look at it, but I'm not sure about that too much. Not looked into it too much. Maybe she should take more takedowns. She's going to be the only one really going for any, if I had to guess. More significant strikes, Yana Santos. I think she's going to be the main one trying to go for strikes on the feet. Some other men, City. I think City is a pretty overall a really good striker. So 6 strikes him is not a bad look, but takedowns probably Smolderman can be more willing to go for takedowns. Marina Rodriguez, Jillian Robertson, more takedowns. Robertson, Marina's not going for any. More 6 strikes. Probably Robertson, to be honest. Like, I do think she wins the fight. And because of that, I mean, her whole style is doing damage. She does significant strikes when she's on top. So yeah, but if you'd like Marina Rodriguez, 6 strikes on her is probably not going to be a good look and like a way to bet her. Jeremy Stevens, Mason Jones, more takedowns, probably Jones. I think to be the only one really going for any. More 6 strikes. It could be either way, but I'd probably lean Jones. Montel Jackson, Daniel Marcos, more takedowns. Montel Jackson. More 6 strikes. It could be either way. I can kind of see it be either way, but I'll lean Jackson because of ground and pound. I think that's a possibility. But I'm not crazy about 6 strikes. More takedowns I like. Ponzinibbio, D-Rod. I think D-Rod outstrikes him on the feet. Takedowns, I'm not crazy. I guess Ponzinibbio is going to be more willing to go for takedowns. Bo Nickal, Reiner. I think Bo Nickal is probably going to be the only one really going for any takedown. Or not, that's not true. He's the only one having any success with the takedowns is what I mean. And on 6 strikes, man, it was so dicey with Paul Craig last time. I don't think I can give a recommendation. I lean Bo Nickal, but I'm not confident in him getting 6 strikes again, unless he shows me more improvements in the striking game. And Cory Sandhagen, Deiveson Figueiredo, more 6 strikes, probably Sandhagen. Figueiredo, probably more takedowns. I think that's going to be his method of victory, or not method of victory, but like he's going to be more willing to go for takedowns. Although I don't think it's going to be easy. So yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. You can check me out at BetMe.Tips Champ Bets. And thanks so much for watching. It's a shorter one because I didn't go over all this stuff from last time. Because there is no last time. I already went over it last video. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great one. Peace.